Coach G, and I'm the head performance trainer here at OGP Anaheim. I've been here since about October of 2022. So performance training is training that is catered more specifically to the athlete, and we try to specify towards their sport and position so they're excelling specifically with what they're trying to do versus just a generic workout and other types of training. So skills clinics are going to be more basketball, for example. They're doing ball handling, shooting, more on-court stuff with the ball. The difference with performance training is we do mimic those movements and that kind of stuff, but we do it without the ball. So they're learning how to use their bodies just on their own or using weights. We'll use medicine balls to kind of implement basketball into it, but we take the ball away, show them how to move without it. That way when they go back to the court, their bodies are comfortable with those movements and can be even better once they're in the game. I always like to say around age 11 or 12 is a great starting point. That's when you're starting to get a little bit more competitive in your sports and, a couple years out from high school. Once you get to high school, you're kind of thrown into the weight room at schools with large groups. I like to build a base at 11 or 12 so that when they are in those larger groups, they know how to squat, they know how to bench, they know how to move. And that just kind of helps prevent injury in the long run, but it also just helps them as they develop and grow. They're moving their bodies so that they're just really comfortable as they get older, and it kind of just puts them ahead of anyone who's not doing it that young. My classes, we usually start with the strength-based section. We'll focus on strength for about 20 minutes, and then we'll move into plyometrics and speed, and then we finish with core and mobility. So you're kind of getting a little bit of everything within each session. So the first session with me, we start with a really basic warm-up, and I'll kind of look at your structure. If there's any little issues we have with knees or ankles and joints, we'll do a band warm-up so you can kind of feel what that's like, and then just start getting into the workout. Everything can be modified for each player. If they're new to working out, we'll kind of take it back and break things down slowly. If they've been working out for a while, they can kind of head towards the more advanced parts of it. In this day and age, there's not really an off season for any athletes at all. And so I try to incorporate a lot of mobility and recovery, and kids that are with me know that if they're having an injury or something nagging at them, they can come speak to me and we'll tailor the workout around that so that they're not trying to just push through. And then I can also give them things to work on at home and before and after practices to kind of take care of that while they're still playing. Each class kind of has the same layout for each kid, especially when they've been coming for a while. I kind of know the differences in their body types, what they're needing, and every exercise has a regression or a progression, which means I can make it a simpler exercise if it's more difficult or just not attainable for that athlete, or I can make it a little bit tougher if it's just too simple for that athlete. So every workout kind of has stages that we can go up or down from. I can always tailor things to the side for someone who's off that day. I've had a guy with a broken arm the last few months, so we've just been doing body weight for him. I always want to make sure everyone's comfortable with what they're doing and not trying to push through something that's too hard or just not necessary for their sport. So for volleyball players, it's a very technical sport, especially with hitting. A lot of athletes can overuse their shoulders and lower backs. So we focus a lot on core work so that when they're turning and torquing as they are hitting, they're not injuring those other body parts and getting full power behind their swings. Same thing with setters. So just kind of breaking it down into the technical parts of the sport and really focusing on the smaller muscle groups that they need to strengthen in order to stay healthy and also get full explosive power. For basketball, we want to be strong and quick at the same time. So we want to be light on our feet. We're working on explosive, so plyometrics, jumping and all of that. And then we're also focusing on speed, quickness. We want to be shifty. So kind of piling all that together with a strength base to keep our joints healthy, especially since it is a contact sport, making sure they can take hits here and there while still being on their feet, fresh, ready, and then also having the endurance to last in the fourth quarter and still have that strength and speed. So I've been training for 10 years now, and then I've been running my business for 6. I got to train professional athletes like right after I finished school, which was a great experience, seeing like very high caliber athletes. But it made me realize that I really love the younger population, and starting from that base versus someone who's very skilled, I get to help them learn how to squat, learn how to do a push-up, and then see their progression over the years of high school. So that's kind of what made me fall in love with that age group. I played volleyball, basketball, and track all through high school, and then I ran track in college. I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I was in college, and then I had an injury. I had 3 surgeries in the course of 2 years, and realized that I still loved sports and I wanted to stay in that. Didn't like the idea of sitting in an office all day long. I started training just regular people on campus, and then got into the athletic side and just fell in love with it, and seeing the process of performance training and what that can really do for an athlete. Especially myself, I wish I would have had that and had the knowledge at a younger age. I think I could have avoided the injuries that I had. So I'm just trying to make sure kids don't go through that and just have a healthy, fun athletic experience. So when I first started, that was just how I kind of learned about the body on paper, memorizing the muscle groups and bones and everything like that. And through my classes, I got to do exercises and then was explained what this is doing, what it's working, how muscles work. So just using that knowledge and then seeing it in action, and just knowing how a small adjustment can affect an entirely different muscle group just helps me understand body types and how some kids are shifted differently, structured differently. So I feel comfortable with any athlete doing really any movement, and I think that all stems back from just the education. Working with OGP is great because it really is like a family environment. I love walking in and seeing other coaches. I'm an entrepreneur on my own. It's nice to collaborate. The facility is great, brand new, state-of-the-art equipment. And then just having the kids, they play on teams with each other, and then they get to train with each other. So they get to bring that competitive nature from the court into the weight room. And that's really fun to see those relationships. It's just nice to have a fully encompassed environment where everything is at one location. Probably number 1, just keeping the athlete's needs first, knowing what each athlete needs specifically, making it about them and what they need to improve on. Also understanding different personalities. Each personality needs to be coached differently. I like to have a fun environment. Sports only last so many years of your life, so it should be a great experience. Keeping everyone disciplined, just making sure we always have a good time and keep getting better.